Ladies and gentlemen, in this RGB video we're going to be taking a look at more quick tech tips for the PlayStation 4. Yes, I realise we've already done one of these videos, however, because the next generation of systems just have so many damn features, it's, well, a good idea, right, at least I thought, for us to go back into the PS4 and explore a few extra options that you may or may not be aware of. So the first one we're going to take a look at is the sharing settings. So I'm sure most of you have, at least out of curiosity, pressed the share button on your controller and gotten up this menu. Now you might also be aware, of course, that you can take screenshots and videos and do all the normal other stuff, but what you might not be aware of is this handy button. By simply pressing options, you can click on share settings, and then you are able to actually change the share button control type. Now that might not sound too much of a big deal, however, if you're someone who does a lot of video, or rather takes a lot of screenshots or does a lot of video recording, it's actually kind of handy, because all you have to do now is, well, show you. Just press, press the wrong button there, which is unhelpful. Just simply press the button to take a photo, which makes things considerably easier, particularly if you're taking a lot of videos, a lot of snaps, that type of thing, if you're a social type of gamer. Personally, I don't really use this function because I'm usually just uploading straight to YouTube, but of course, as usual, your mileage may vary. Moving straight on to another tip, we're going to bring up the PlayStation menu, and then we're going to go all the way over to settings, and then we're going to scroll all the way down to devices, and then we're going to move down to controllers. So there are a couple of nice options here. The main one, which actually saves a lot of battery power, I realise many of you are aware of this, however some people still complain about PlayStation 4's controller's lifespan, the DS4, and this is one way you can slightly improve it, just simply by changing dim on the brightness of the DualShock light bar, and you can also reduce the speaker for the controller as well. Personally, I find that distracting, so disabling that and disabling vibration if you're like me and you just dislike vibration as a whole, then you can just go ahead and do that, and it does just offer you that extra little bit of life in the PlayStation 4's controller. Now there is one setting that a lot of folks may be unaware of on the PlayStation 4, which is actually rather important to get best visual quality out of your system. I'll go ahead and show you it right now. Click on video output settings, and you will notice one labelled full RGB range or RGB range. And there are three possible options: automatic, limited and full. Now I could give a really in-depth explanation for this, and I possibly will in the future, but just know that if you don't perfectly match these settings up to your device, in other words the PS4 settings matching that of your TV, you are going to get essentially washed out colours or just drab looking images. You can get poor looking contrast, and just overall the image will not look how the developers had intended it to. Now you really might be tempted to click on automatic, which is pretty good assumption, right? You click on it and it takes care of it for you. Unfortunately, sometimes the PS4 and the TV do not play ball together, and essentially the PS4 doesn't accurately tell the system, hey, I can handle full range of colours, or I can only handle limited range of colours. Therefore, and obviously I can't go through every single model out there and tell you whether your display handles this or not, the best option is to just try both out, but sensibly. Now what I mean by that is, let's say for the sake of argument we're going to start out with full, which is what I use with my hardware because that's appropriate. What you can do to test whether this is accurate, first of all, you could just go ahead and load up a couple of games, which is one way to do it, but there is another. If you press the PlayStation button and load up your internet browser, I've just gone ahead and gone to this URL, and basically there's a full RGB test image, and what you can go ahead and do is basically look to see if that looks accurate. You can also full screen that if you want as well, but essentially if you do that, you can start seeing whether your display is accurately displaying those colours. It might not come out properly for you all on the video once it's been compressed through YouTube and then run through your display, but it's the easiest way of doing it. And there are loads of these full RGB images out there, so you can just Google it. It'll take about 10 seconds to pop up, and then just look in Google Images and you'll find one. And if, once again, it matches, great. If not, try the other setting. And if you've had it configured wrong all of this time, you will probably notice that your PS4 will look quite considerably nicer. Anyway, oh, and one last thing before I close out. Do periodically, after you've had a system update, do periodically check that setting. Especially if you take it around a friend's house. I'm not joking. I've had to re-record an entire graphics setting on the PlayStation 4 side once because the setting changed back. And to say that I was upset is basically the biggest understatement of the century. I believe I was probably swearing for a good 45 hours. Maybe not quite, but I was not camping merrily. Finally, when we're on the net or main options menu, you can click on network and then simply disable connect to the internet. Now, I realise that in the age of patches, there are a hell of a lot of patches which are very important, but if you're really short on time and you just want to jump right into a single player game, you don't want to disable your Wi-Fi or what have you, the easiest way of just pulling out the PlayStation 4's internet capability is simply click on that. Therefore, it will not be able to connect to your router. And don't worry, it does save all of your internet options, so you don't have to worry about changing IP addresses or anything like that. You simply tick it again and it will pick right back where it left off. So once again, it's really handy if the game is insisting on downloading a rather large, hefty patch before you are able to play it. But with that said, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.